scary Krampus story. Though some religious people may object, what would Christmas be without that horned antithesis to Santa? I don't know. Don't ask me. Don't ask a vampire these deep, abiding questions. Yes, friends, regardless of where Krampus came from, or his origins, or the inner machinations of his maddened mind, I present to you these scary stories about the bastard. Or friend, depending on whether or not you have children, and whether or not you've been a good parent, and whether or not you do believe there is additional discipline owed your children, in spite of your own, or in replacement of. That brings up the question, of course, is Krampus only for children? Or is he for adults? And if the second, is he for adults to discipline them, or to merely haunt their dreams in things like scary stories? Ponder these questions, my good friends, as I regale you with tonight's first story. My grandfather's World War II Christmas story by So Lonely 200. My grandfather, aged 98, served in the British military from 1940 to 1948. He has several medals in his time from service. It also goes without saying he has quite a few stories to tell. He has stories of being a POW to the Germans, storming forts, and, according to him, disemboweling a man with a garden trowel. Even in his old age, he still can recollect them clearly. His most interesting story, however, is from December of 1944. He had escaped a German POW camp where he was placed in while they prepared a transferal to a concentration camp. It was during his time on the run he came to a small German town. The people,
it's a scary Krampus story about Nazis and stuff. Shh.
However,
I just wanted to show you that.
No need.
I've got hot chocolate.
The following is the story, as written in his journal.
I've got stuff in my
I believe the date
aesthetic
was December 5th
industries
or 6th.
fancy ogre wee.
But it seemed fearful to walk the street on this night. The children were excited for the coming of St. Nicholas, I gathered. Hitler had tried to scrub away any religious influence on the holiday, but in small villages such as this, the people did not adhere to all the Führer's guidelines.
I'll let you get back to
I was hidden away with a family of
the
four,
Krampus story.
2 children, a mother and her father. The father of the children was conscripted to Hitler's army, the Wehrmacht. The children were about 9 or 10, if I had to guess. I didn't see them that much, as I was beneath the floor, with a small window as my only company on that moonlit night as it shone through the glass. I heard the mother speak with who I can only presume was the SS looking for me. They barked something in German, and then the air went silent. I heard one of the lesser Nazis say, and this is a rough translation as I don't know much of the German, "Commander, we must be going." His voice seemed almost frightened. I heard sleigh bells at that moment, and noticed the Nazi voices get even more panicked in tone. The door shut then, and the children were placed in the cellar. I assumed that I was in the cellar with me. I looked across the road, out of the only window in the place, and saw a silhouette in the night. The figure appeared to wear a cloak and a set of goat horns. This would be strange enough, but it was also on top of a home. I heard screaming from above me, the scream of the mother and the Nazis. There was a crash, and I felt a chill in the air. I silenced the children as best I could, who at this point were understandably frightened. There were gunshots, then more silence. I expected to hear the barking of the Gestapo, but instead I heard heavy steps, like hooves, but far too large. Chains seemed to be scraping the floor above the children and I. The door to the hidden area swung open at that moment. The son, I believe his name was Klaus, let out a shriek, and suddenly was snatched up through the floorboards. Same with the little girl. I wasn't going to sit by and let this happen. I rose from my hiding place, shaken but undeterred. The bodies of the mother and the Gestapo and her father lay gutted and strewn about. The gore on the being's horns named it the culprit. It was putting the daughter in the large sack on its back, where I could see movement from what I could only assume was other children. It wore many furs and chains. It had a hunched disposition. I yelled at the cloaked figure. It turned, standing upright from its hunched position. It stood easily 9 or so feet tall. It had the body of a man, with large, sharp, knife-like fingers. The horns were a part of its person, growing from its goat-like head. It smiled at me with crooked, rotten teeth. Its eyes were also very much goat-like. Among its many chains were sleigh bells jingling as it moved, the source of the bells earlier. I moved to grab the pistol from the dead Gestapo's hand and fired it. The creature didn't move. It hardly seemed phased. It let out a cackle and left the home. Why had it not killed me? I ran after it and saw many other homes in the village were similarly ransacked. Bodies were strewn about, and their fireplaces were seemingly demolished. It threw its large bag onto the sleigh, pulled by 9 hellish goats. The sleigh itself was adorned with many furs and additional chains. Human faces in anguish were also visible, though I can't be sure if they were actual faces or merely representations. I heard the cries of the children, and it gave me one more grin. It said to me simply, "Fröhliche Krampusnacht." It whipped the goats, and they ran off into the night. That night I would hear many screams in the distance. I noticed the children remaining in the village 2 mornings later. Were greeted with a great deal of gifts. I left after 2 days and continued to Allied territories, ducking Gestapo at every turn. Ever since I was a kid, he insisted that all his grandchildren and children stay at his home on December 5th. And he always made sure the fire burned hot.
Okay, fam. I see that the camera is freezing up real bad, so let's see if I can do something about that real quick. We'll go here, and we'll see what happens if I change it to this. Seems to be moving a little better. I don't know why I'm having these troubles tonight, but it's okay. It's really not about looking at me. I got lots of fun video hooked up in the queue. I'm drinking hot chocolate with a mix of Ether Tech Industries Fancy Ogre Wee. Welcome, fam. Bah motherfucking humbug from all the Antifas to all the patriots. We are here wrecking Christmas. This is an official war on Christmas going down over here. Pause that over there. Really kind of bums me out that frames are moving so slowly. But it is what it is, fam. I'm Reverend Air. This is Punks for Progress. And as the title says, this is a Christmas what the fuck. It's a Marxist Christmas, Pee-wee. Because I got stuff about all of that queued up to play for you. We're going to hang out for about 3 hours, play some Christmas-esque music, play some punk rock Christmas videos, punk rock Christmas records, various videos about fucked up versions of Christmas history, cartoons and weirdness and all kinds of other fun shenanigans. Yeah, welcome, fam. I guess without any further whatever, we could get over here. Let's see. What did I have? Well, since we started out with a story about Krampus, I figure, why don't we get a little sort of look at the history of Krampus, right? So come over here. And what I have queued up is Krampus, Exploring the Legend of the Christmas Demon. It's from the channel Mythology and Fiction Explained. And I want, whoops. This isn't where I wanted to be. I want to turn down the Christmas fire music. We can save that. But, like I said, this is Krampus, Exploring the Legend of the Christmas Demon. It's from the channel Mythology and Fiction Explained. And it's 15 minutes, so I think what I'm going to do, fam, don't tell them, but I'm going to play it at 1.25 speed. Okay. I think I might be peaking on levels here, too, so let's bring that down a little bit. Check, check, check. Yeah, that's way, check, check, check. Okay. All right, so with no further whatever, this is Krampus, Exploring the Legend of the Christmas Demon.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and with his parents and siblings fast asleep in their beds, little Timmy decided to sneak downstairs and open his presents early. He was filled with excitement as he began to open everything. But when he finally got to his own present, Timmy was left looking down at a cold, hard lump of coal. The room went cold, and he could hear the rattling of chains behind him. This year there would be no visit from Santa. For those who misbehave will only be greeted by the shadow of Saint Nicholas, the demon of Christmas, Krampus. To many of us, Christmas means a time of joy, togetherness, and family. But if we're being honest, as kids, it also meant no school and a bunch of presents. There are those, however, unfortunate enough to experience the dark side of Christmas. Those who never got their visit from Santa. Misbehave and you'll be on Santa's naughty list. But what if that list was more than just misbehaving children? What if that list was intended for someone else? There's nothing like tales of a demon who drowns, eats, and drags children off to hell to really get you into the Christmas mood. Jokes aside, Krampus is one of my personal favourites, and it's also a video that I've always wanted to come back to and improve upon. Stories of Krampus have appeared throughout Central Europe as far back as pre-Christian Alpine tradition. This area covers a host of countries from Austria, Germany, and Switzerland to parts of France, northern Italy, the Czech Republic, and Slovenia. Modern tales depicts him as the not-so-friendly companion of Saint Nicholas or Santa Claus, who punishes the poorly behaved while Saint Nicholas rewards those who have been good. However, it may not have always been that way. When discussing Krampus, there are two distinct periods of time that give us entirely different stories. The initial period of pagan tradition, and then the period after of Christian tradition. We honestly don't know much about his earliest origin because most pagan traditions were either forgotten or absorbed into Christian traditions. The most common belief is that Krampus may have originated from a horn deity, and we know this extends further than just pagan beliefs because horn gods have existed in multiple cultures across the world. There is a similarity between Krampus and the ancient Greek satyr, both being quite rowdy and mischievous, but one is clearly more evil than the other. In Old High German, the word Krampen meant claw, which could refer to a clawed monster, but just like everything else surrounding his origins, it's all pretty ambiguous. The closest connection we can draw between Krampus' pre- and post-Christian Alpine traditions are pagan festivals that took place during the winter, similar to Yule or winter solstice. During these festivals, men would dress up in masks and animal furs and parade around villages being a nuisance, which is something they still do today, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So far, there's not been much to suggest that Krampus ever had anything to do with Christmas or Santa Claus, other than appearing at a similar time in the year. In both Austria and Germany, it wasn't uncommon for individuals to wear a devilish mask and make a nuisance of themselves during holidays which honoured Christian saints. This wasn't done as a tradition honouring Krampus, more so a pushback against the church, which had been phasing out these pagan beliefs and traditions. You can, however, make the argument that this would be the start of what we would see in the years that followed. If we go even further back, the closest thing we have to an origin for Krampus comes from a figure known in Austria as Perkta. She was mentioned very briefly by the Brothers Grimm, and the best way I can describe her is as a combination of Santa Claus and Krampus. Rather than having the concept of good and evil shown by two separate entities, Perkta represented both the reward and the punishment. Around midwinter, during what we would refer to as the 12 Days of Christmas or the Feast of the Epiphany, she would visit the homes of children. If they were good, then they would find a silver coin in one of their shoes the next morning. Sounds a lot like St. Nicholas, right? No, because if they were bad, she would slit open their bellies, remove their stomach and guts, and fill the cavity with straw and pebbles before sewing it shut again. This also extended to anyone who ate anything other than meat, fish, or gruel during the day of her festival. To symbolize this duality, she appeared as a beautiful woman dressed in white, and other times as a withered old hag. Accompanying her were a group of spirits known as the Perkten, who just like Perkta also appeared in two different forms. The beautiful Perkten, who brought with them good fortune, and the ugly Perkten, who had fangs, tusks, and horsetails, not too different from Krampus himself. The ugly Perkten were used to ward off spirits and demons in one's home, similar to Halloween but in December. This led to men dressing up as these ugly Perkten and going from house to house driving out evil spirits, in what was known as the Perktenlauf, or the Perkten Run. The church then seen these celebrations as a demonstration of immoral behaviour, trying to stop these runs from taking place. But many Austrian villages just refused to comply, whilst others chose to dress someone up as St. Nicholas to accompany them on these runs as somewhat of a compromise.
It's safer to be thrown out than to be trapped inside.
This is very upsetting.
Hold on. Skipping that. Volume back on.
Around the 11th century, stories of St. Nicholas began to gain popularity, and this continued until the 16th century, where the form of Krampus that we know today really began to manifest. The church, still locked in a battle with the Austrian people over the Perkten, decided to just outright ban the Perktenlauf. Not willing to give up entirely, the people then created a new creature, similar to the Perkten in appearance but with a few key changes. This creature would now serve St. Nicholas, and would be known as Krampus, a hairy, horned and hooved demonic figure, with sharp fangs, long claws and an even longer tongue. At this point in time, he wasn't considered the only one of his kind. The Krampus referred to a race of monsters that appeared during the Yule period. During this period, Christians would celebrate St. Nicholas. December 6 was known as St. Nicholas Day. Much like modern-day Christmas, St. Nicholas would deliver presents to those who had been good. Those who were not so good would get either a lump of coal or a twig. To the church, the idea of these Krampus figures was still a symbol of heathenism, and so they decided to assimilate this belief into their own existing winter ceremonies. Krampus was then paired with St. Nicholas. One symbolized good and the other evil. He would then become associated with the idea of the Christian devil. He was given chains to symbolize the binding of the devil by the church. He now carried around birch sticks that he would use to beat misbehaving children with. On his back, he had a basket or a sack that he would throw those naughty children in when dragging them off to hell. If you were extremely poorly behaved, you may even be drowned or eaten. The night before St. Nicholas Day now became Krampusnacht, meaning Krampus night. December 5th was the day this demon was allowed to roam the streets and villages. It was no longer St. Nicholas giving you a twig or a lump of coal. He was only concerned with the good children. The punishment of the rest fell to Krampus. It was fairly common for the church to integrate ideas and traditions from other cultures into their own when attempting to convert those from a different faith. And it does make sense. Just turning up on someone's doorstep and telling them to stop believing in what they do because they go into hell normally elicits a negative reaction. Instead, showing them that there is a common ground in your beliefs is much more effective. In this case, it was more so the Austrian people who adapted their beliefs into something more palatable to the church. And so the story of St. Nicholas and Krampus is a good example of how a heathen belief was integrated, despite the major differences. The tradition of St. Nicholas Day went through quite a major shift as a result of this. Going from St. Nicholas leaving you a twig if you were poorly behaved to being dragged off to hell by this giant demon goat monster. but if you were lucky, maybe you'd just be eaten or drowned in a lake. Quite the tonal shift. By the 16th century, stories of St. Nicholas began to be replaced. He now became Santa Claus, deriving from his Dutch name Sinterklaas, or Father Christmas if you live in the UK. Stories of Krampus remain largely the same, and December 5th was still considered a Krampus night in many countries. With Christmas being celebrated on the 25th, it's only natural to then want to move Krampus night to Christmas Eve for those outside of the Alpine region, and that's why you may see this in various stories and movies, despite these celebrations and festivals taking place in early December. These celebrations can vary depending on the region. They often involve wearing a wooden mask, dressing up in fur, and attempting to look as terrifying as possible. In some towns it's more humorous, and in others it's slightly more scary, but it's all mostly done in good fun. The most popular of these traditions is the Krampuslauf, or the Krampus Run, which is essentially the same as the Perchtenlauf. Groups of people dress up as Krampus wearing large bells so they can be heard as they roam the streets in packs accompanied by a St. Nicholas. What exactly they do depends on how they're feeling. Some just scare children and passers-by, some throw snow at them, and others whip them around the back of the leg. Then you have those who visit houses giving presents, and in exchange they're given schnapps and brandy. So it's pretty much just adult trick-or-treating, and it's also a pretty good excuse to walk around being a massive douche for a day. In parts of Austria, twigs would be painted gold and left around the house all year round as a reminder for children to behave.
Do you want to learn to draw professional and impressive artwork?
Do that. And we're skipping and turning the volume back on.
In the 1800s, Krampus could be found on greeting cards, postcards, and on the wrappers of candy. These depictions were rather odd and often quite distasteful. They feature Krampus as a more devilish figure with a sexual undertone, and this stems from those in large cities never really seeing these traditions. All they had to go by was the word of the church, who equated Krampus to the devil. In terms of his story, these images do make sense, but it's not hard to imagine why some wouldn't find them suitable. It's also why over the years they've gone from frightening to more comical, in order to appeal to a larger audience. What's nice to see is that these festivals and Krampus runs still take place today, and not just in towns and cities within Austria and Germany, but all around the world, even popping up in parts of North America. There's no doubt that stories of Krampus and those predating him have a dark tone to them, but to say that he's just evil doesn't really tell the whole story. Before they were Christianized, the Perchtens served as protective spirits, and Krampus only really came to as St. Nicholas's companion as a way to keep these traditions alive. Even then, he merely punishes those who were deemed as deserving. He doesn't commit acts of evil against the innocent, and therefore he can be seen as representing a necessary evil. For many, this whole spectacle was and still is a time of fun and expression. Even today, families take their children to these events and festivals. To them, Krampus is more of a Disney villain than a terrifying demonic story. To me, Krampus and St. Nicholas represent our very own nature. We can be good and we can be evil. But in order for society to function, you need incentive for the good and you need consequence for the bad, even if that is in the form of a hairy demonic goat monster. If just like me you can't get enough of Krampus, then why not check out our original story, Krampus Night? And if you're lucky, episode 2 of Dark World may even be out before the end of the year. But I wouldn't hold your breath. Unless you're being drowned by Krampus, because in that case you probably want to hold it as long as you can. As always, I've been your host, Mythology and Fiction Explained, wishing you all a very merry Krampus night.
What was that, fam? And then, now check it out. So what I have queued up, I'll let a little bit of his credits play, because I think that was cool and informative, and it was fun. But I also have a music video queued up, and it's by Erzmelta. It's called Once Upon a Star. Check it out, fam.
Crying water faces are unnoticed by our senses. Perversion peaks as and the demonstration of undistributed wealth, and exposure of one control, greed and all its filth. Merry, 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 merry fucking Christmas. Ho, 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 the privileged, pessimistic, and victorious. Upon a star, as odious as we are, brothers and sisters, merry fucking Christmas. Yeah, upon a star, as odious as we are, brothers and sisters, merry fucking Christmas. Merry fucking Christmas. Merry fucking Christmas. Merry fucking Christmas.
Hell yeah, fam. That was Herod's Melta. Once Upon a Star, or just Upon a Star is what it's called. I see that my stuff is still sort of... I'm going to try one more thing to get these frames moving a little faster. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Because I also have this record ready to go. It's called Happy Birthday, Baby Jesus. And The Second Coming, because it's actually volume 2. This is a comp by Sympathy from the Record Industry. And if you notice, it's a 10-inch vinyl. It features the Phenobarbitals, Man or Astro Man, Elvez, The Mono Men, Dead Moon, Le Chicken, Super Suckers, The Bomboras, The Muffs, Fireworks, Go Nuts, and Satan's Cheerleaders. And I'm going to play probably just about the whole damn thing, fam. And look at that. It's on candy white vinyl with green and red inserts and whatever. But we'll just go ahead and play like 3 songs from the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and get it started here. And then I'm going to see if I can do something about the frames on this video. On the right speed. I think I have it on the right speed. Looks a little better, right, fam? And by the way, SoCal shenanigans are your fault. Your name is in the word, Shan. You just gotta deal with it. Sorry, love you. Person, welcome back. And I'm glad that you gave up that bullshit stream and came over here. Ours has way more like purposeful nonsense, not dishonest nonsense. By the way, this is the Phenobarbitals, and it's Oh Holy Night, parts 1 and 2. Also, welcome back as always, Happy Slave. I see you've been waiting since the trailer came out earlier. But I just wanted to say welcome to y'all real quick. I'm going to put this video going over here so you have something to look at while we listen to a couple more Christmas songs from Happy Birthday, Baby Jesus.
Weary world rejoices.
That was Fina Barbadolls. Up next is Man or Astro Man doing Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, I behaved very well. I have been obedient and have studied very much. For that reason, please try to bring me these toys. A toy automobile, a submarine, a football, a bat, roller skates, a scooter, a cannon, a rocket, a bicycle, an atomic laboratory, a machine gun.
Man or Astro Man. Up next is Elvez with Feliz Navinada. Elvez.
Christmas.
That's how Elvez does it. Just like that. Feliz Navidad by Elvez. Hey fam, I have other videos picked out. What's up next? Oh, it's a visit from Marx. Hold on. Yeah, this is a visit from Marx. It's kind of short. But then it's also followed by But Christmas by Fear. But I hope you're all enjoying this. It looks like I got some of the video frame stuff figured out. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Ow! I'm burning MAGA. I'm burning MAGA hats and stuff. Y'all have to have seen this thing floating around, right? Anyway, that is the link that that you dropped in the work Slack there, Shan, SoCal Shan. So thank SoCal Shannon for putting a fireplace in my wall. I can't stop looking at it. It looks really neat. But yes, I have hot cocoa. I'm almost done with this one. I'm drinking EtherTech Industries Fine Ogre Wee with my hot cocoa. I'm pretty close to needing another one. So I'm going to play this here, A Visit from Marx, followed by Fear with Fuck Christmas. And then I think we'll play a second Krampus horror story. Okay, so with no further whatever and tinsel and stuff with fires burning in my wall and whatever, let's take a look at A Visit from Marx. It's from Batco, is the name of the YouTube channel where I got it. We gotta turn the fire down. We can't have the fire blazing while we play Batco's video, A Visit from Marx. So, here we go.
"'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Mark's would never be there. The bourgeois were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of money danced in their heads. The workers were working all through the night, realizing at last no one cared for their plight. Then, out of the factory, there arose such a clatter. I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw open the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a lustre of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes did appear but an army of workers, and their purpose was clear. They aimed to destroy the last oligarchs, and I knew that their leader must be St. Mark's. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Min, now Guevara, now Trotsky and Lenin, on Mao, on Luxembourg, on Tito and Stalin, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they met with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of hell, and St. Mark's was there too. Up on the rooftop he pulled on his reins. On the workers, you've got nothing to lose but your chains. The time of the capitalist has come to an end. The moment had come for the proletariat to ascend. Above me I heard the sound of artillery fire. I finally understood just how the situation was dire. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Mark's came in with a bound. His eyes, how they twinkled, they filled me with dread. His cheeks were like roses, his suit was all red. The beard on his chin was as white as the snow, but his mustache was dark, as black as a crow. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, seizing all property, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger on the trigger of his gun, giving a nod to his comrades. and I knew I was done. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "A revolution for all, and to all a good night."
There you go.
We have a Christmas song for you now. We like to play this as a Christmas song, and just, you know, and everything. People don't think that we're sentimental or anything, but don't despair just because it's Christmas. Children there are so gay at Christmas. All the children on the street hope they get something good to eat. But for me, it's not so great. Fuck Christmas! 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 Fuck Christmas!
There you go. The audio was hella low on that, wasn't it, fam? Sorry about that. What can I do? So, I have the second story from the video that you heard, the very opening of the stream, which told the story about the Nazis and the story of Krampus. It's from a video from Horrorcraft, which is a channel that I just discovered today. So I don't know anything about whether they're legit or they're on board with leftist politics or whatever, just saying. But this video is called 3 Krampus Horror Stories to Blacken Your Christmas, Krampus Sightings, and Other Stories. So, this is the second of those 3 Krampus stories. Thanks to Horrorcraft YouTube channel.
It's always too much Santa Claus if you ask me. But we've just begun with this first story, so let us on to our second of the night. Up next is Jake Wick's memorable tale, A Krampus Carol. If there was anyone to be found on Santa's naughty list, it was surely Cindy's older sister, Maddie. Cindy was 8, and Maddie was 3 years more, and had never said a nice thing to Cindy in her life. Or so it seemed. Cindy's my favorite, Cindy's so pretty, Cindy's this, Cindy's that. These were the words from Maddie's mother that rang in Maddie's head through every day of the year, but especially around Christmas time, when Cindy was talking sweetly of gift-giving and decorating and loving her family and friends. Cindy was sweet, but it was authentic. All she really wanted was to be loved by Maddie, the same way she herself loved Maddie. Since Cindy was a baby, Maddie hadn't liked her. Some of Cindy's earliest memories revolved around the constant sideways looks she would receive from Maddie. The passive aggression, the endless competitions for Mom's affection. Cindy was always the one to receive it, but on certain days, she would ask her mother to pay Maddie some attention too. "Oh, your sister's fine," her mother would say. "Your sister gets plenty of attention." And after saying this, her mother would usually give Maddie a half-hearted pat on the head, and then go right back to giving Cindy all the affection a child would ever need. It left a hollow place in Cindy, and when she tried to give Maddie the love she so desperately needed, Maddie would shun Cindy as if Cindy were a leper. Now this year, Maddie had been extra bitter. Perhaps it was the additional attention Cindy garnered for her performance in the school's Christmas play, or maybe it was the way Mom constantly bragged about Cindy's acting. "She's the next Meryl Streep, I'm telling you," Cindy's mother would brag. But whatever the reason, Maddie took every chance she saw to torment her younger sister. Cindy woke up one morning with gum in her hair. Another day, she found that her underwear was soaked in honey. Her favorite dolls would go missing. The TV in her room, which Maddie wasn't allowed to have, was constantly unplugged. Yet Cindy's desire for her sister's acceptance continued through the month of December. She continued to be kind. She persisted in giving Maddie compliments even when her mother did not. The gift at the top of Maddie's Christmas list was a brand new makeup kit. Cindy made sure that she would be the one to give it to her Christmas morning. Despite all this, Cindy had felt her wear and tear from all Maddie's torments throughout the month, and it all came to a breaking point on Christmas Eve. The family sat at the Christmas Eve dinner table and ate ham and mashed potatoes and Christmas cookies. Cindy's mother had been bragging shamelessly all night long about Cindy's acting. There had been no mention of Maddie, not at any point. Maddie was stewing, and Cindy could see it. At one point, through all the bragging and praising and gloating, Maggie finally chimed in. "I don't think Cindy's acting is that good," she said matter-of-factly. It was as though a bomb had gone off in the room. Everyone looked at Maddie like they were unsure they'd heard correctly. It was like blasphemy. "What kind of thing is that to say?" asked Mother. Maddie shrugged. "I don't know," Maddie said. "I just think you're exaggerating a bit. I mean, she's decent." All of the memories of Maddie's torments began to broil and fester in Cindy's mind. And now here was Maddie disparaging Cindy at the dinner table in front of the entire family, in front of all the aunts and uncles and cousins and friends. "At least I'm good at something," Cindy blurted. And just like that, Maddie retracted into a pit of shame, Cindy's words ringing true and humiliating. Mother only added fuel to the fire by shrugging at Maddie in a matter-of-fact manner. "Your sister's got a point," said Mother. Cindy felt horrible as she watched Maddie sulk and trudge off toward the bathroom like a beaten dog. Cindy hated the power she held in her hands. That night, everyone hunkered down in their beds and waited for Santa to leave his gifts below the tree. But Cindy had trouble sleeping. It was midnight now. Cindy rarely found herself awake at this hour, but she knew why. Cindy removed her covers and hopped out of bed and tiptoed across the room. She was careful not to wake anyone. She opened her closet door and grabbed Maddie's wrapped gift. She tiptoed down the dark hallway and dragged her fingers along the wall so as not to stumble around in the dark. "I'll give Maddie her gift and tell her I'm sorry and tell her I love her," Cindy thought to herself. "That's what I'll do, and she'll be happy and she'll forgive me, and maybe she'll even say she loves me too." When Cindy arrived outside Maddie's door, she heard strange shuffling noises coming from inside. Perhaps Maddie was preparing another prank for Cindy. No matter. Cindy was going to walk in and give Maddie her present and try and make amends. Cindy opened the door just a crack. She was careful not to startle Maddie. It was so dark inside the room that she couldn't see a thing, but she could hear a great deal of shuffling inside the room as before. Cindy stared into the room for quite some time, patiently waiting for her eyes to adjust to the gloom. When her eyes adjusted, she saw an empty bed. She saw Maddie's wide-open window. She saw a 7-foot figure standing in the shadows. She saw the rounded cage upon its back, and then she saw Maddie sitting in the cage like a frightened bird. As Cindy's terrified eyes further adjusted to the dark, she saw the figure more clearly. It had a goat's head with large horns on top. Its eyes were red and impish and hostile. It wore a suit much like Santa Claus, and even jingling sleigh bells hung from a few ends of the garment. Cindy stood frozen with fear as the creature glanced at her and gave her a nod and a wink. The creature made its way toward the window. As it did, the last Cindy saw of her sister was a look of fear and sadness and regret. And then the creature left as Cindy stood there with the present in her hands. Down the chimney he will come with his great big grin, and you'll find that even the kiddies are very liable to sin. What will Krampus say when he finds everybody sinning? What will Krampus say when he hears them sin, sin, sinning? I think it is safe to say, friends, that of all Krampus's evils, he does have a penchant for taking children. Perhaps Krampus is not alive, but the ghost of someone, something, or perhaps somebody. Perhaps he is the ghost of a certain Jeffrey. I shan't say the name, but I do believe, friends, on a serious note, that there are real living Krampuses in this life. In fact, I'll hazard a guess that Krampus is rather the fanciful imagining of someone who saw real-life Krampuses and gave them a more fanciful cast in the story. Whatever you believe, let us on to our next Krampus story. Up next, friends, is a chilling...
No, up next is not a chilling. I mean, it could be. We'll probably get to their third story. Hey, MR Red, welcome. This is the dumbest fucking Christmas special you are ever going to experience in your life, comrade. And I'm really stoked you're here to experience it. That was a Krampus story. This is Hot Chocolate with EtherTech Industries Fancy Ogre Wee. I'm burning MAGA over here, keeping me warm. I've got my Oh Governor outfit on. Later on, I'm probably going to shovel coal down chimneys or clean chimneys or some shit. I don't know. But I have a fucking cool video queued up. I'm going to play records before I play this video that I have queued up. But it's from The Atlantic. There's a slim chance it'll get us dinged for copyright. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't, because this is the first time I played anything from The Atlantic. But I checked this video out. It's like 6 minutes, and it's called Santa is a Psychedelic Mushroom. Yeah, we're going to watch that. And it's a cool as fuck video. But before we get to that, I want to play 3 more songs off of Happy Birthday, Baby Jesus, The Second Coming, from Sympathy for the Record Industry Records. In this block, we're going to play The Mono Men doing Christmas is for Sinners, Dead Moon doing Christmas Rush, and Les Chicken, spelled Chickun, Christmas is time for Les Chicken. So, first up, The Mono Men, Christmas is for Sinners.
Wow.
I don't give a fuck about you.
Christmas time is for sinners. That's you.
Christmas time is for sinners. And that's you.
There you go. That's the Mono Men. That's the dude who runs Estrus Records, in case you want to know. But that was the Mono Men with Christmas Time is for Sinners. And what was next? Oh yeah, Dead Moon doing Christmas Rush. There you go, fam.
Come in right after we do the bum bum ba da. You come right in right instantly. Okay? Then I do it bum bum ba da. We do it when we get the gun. And then I do what? We're gonna go. Bum, you start right being right there.
Hunter! Welcome, comrade.
Christmas rush. Ain't got time to done. I gotta buy some stuff from a low on bucks. I got the Christmas rush. Gotta cut a tree. Clean the chimney. I gotta hang some socks. Shovel the walks and decorate the tree. And every Christmas is the same routine. Last minute to do everything. Family's coming and I'm unprepared. Come Christmas morning, I just don't care.
I got the Christmas rush. I got a ticket at the club. I got kids to ride, and I'm clothes to wax. I got the Christmas rush. I got cars to ride. Five Christmas lights. Steaks and pies and chilled wine. Ain't got much time. Every Christmas is the same routine. Last minute to do everything. The family's coming and I'm unprepared. Last minute this morning, I just don't care.
Got the Christmas rush. You got the Christmas rush. Because it's just the love that's starting up. We got the Christmas rush. We got resolution. We got new solution. We won't smoke or drink and tell you what we think. We got resolution. Every Christmas is the same routine. Last minute to do everything. I was coming in, I'm unprepared. This morning I just don't care.
There you go. That was Dead Moon, the Christmas Rush. And the last song we hear before the next video is Lace Chicken with Christmas Time. It's time for Lace Chicken.
This holiday season, the laid chicken plant is busting the cognac and cooling by the fireplace with the main man, exchanging expensive gifts and getting down and all that tasty treats. So with that thought in mind, we'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Peace out.
that's Lay's chicken. No one ever said Lay's chicken was really good, but definitely Christmas time is for Lay's chicken. So what I have up, fam, we're going to learn some stuff and whatnot. No, really, we're going to learn stuff. Hold on. You can't hear how... Gotta hear the crackling fire first. And I should say, welcome, Hunter, comrade. I am so stoked that you're here. I'm having hot chocolate with my Ethertech Industries fancy Ogre Wee mixed in. We usually have janky Halloween specials. What this is the stupidest fucking Christmas special you're ever gonna watch, comrade. I am so happy you're here. But I wasn't kidding when I had a video up about us learning stuff and whatnot, but it's called Santa is a Psychedelic Mushroom. Welcome, fam. Much love to ya. And here we go with that.
So, it's the holidays. And I'm thinking about mushrooms. Psychedelic mushrooms. The Amanita muscaria, to be exact. Most commonly associated with fairies, gnomes, Alice in Wonderland, and Mario. So what does this magical mushroom have to do with Christmas?
It's surprising that it's taken so long for the popular imagination to encompass who Santa Claus is.
That's Carl Ruck, a scholar known for his work on the influential role hallucinogenic plants have played in mythology and religion. And he believes this mushroom may be one of the reasons we have flying reindeer and an all-knowing man who flies around the globe every winter. Maybe there's another story worth telling this season. One about a psychedelic mushroom-eating shaman from the Arctic.
At least part of the Santa Claus image comes from Lapland.
And that's Lawrence Millman, writer and mycologist. He says the indigenous people of Lapland, known as the Sami, allegedly performed healing rituals led by shamans who used the hallucinogenic mushroom, the Amanita muscaria. So imagine it's winter, we're near the North Pole, and a shaman is coming to your house.
Long ago, the Sami people believed that the shaman who ate an Amanita muscaria ended up looking like an Amanita muscaria. And he came on a reindeer-drawn sled.
So he had reindeer, and he's looking like a
big, fat person with red splotches in the dead of winter.
And instead of entering through the snow-blocked doorway, the shaman would drop down the chimney.
What they brought were not physical gifts, but usually healing and problem-solving, which would be a kind of gift. And they were rewarded with lots of food.
Offerings of food? Kind of like milk and cookies? Delicious.
And reindeer have a great love for mushrooms, and especially the males like Amanita muscaria. And one of the effects, I don't know if you've had Amanita muscaria, have you?
No, I haven't.
Not that I'm recommending it, mind you. One of the effects makes you feel like you're flying. And one can imagine that that's how reindeer feel as well.
So if we're imagining ourselves in a tent right now, there's a fire going, the shaman is in front of us, and the shaman
would eat the mushroom, go into a trance. Although they would be sitting there beating the drum in the tent, they would be saying, and I'm going down to the underworld and I'm getting advice from so-and-so.
So they would get advice from another realm and bring it back to the people, and
that would be the gift, as it were, of Santa Claus, i.e. the person who took the mushroom and ended up looking like the mushroom. This all becomes a kind of melange. You can't really interpret it with scientific objectiveness.
I should mention, the Amanita muscaria is a highly toxic mushroom. But the urine from reindeer or someone who has consumed it is still highly psychoactive, but without all the toxins. In Siberia, people actually used to drink their shaman's urine to get the effects of the mushroom.
The shaman would eat the muscaria, then he'd urinate, and then his followers would get the urine and drink it. And then they would urinate, and their reindeer would follow them around, wanting to drink their urine.
So I'm not suggesting we start drinking Santa's urine. But what we've got here is a shaman from Lapland, which is near the North Pole, who rides a reindeer-drawn sled, enters people's houses through their chimney, eats red and white mushrooms, goes on a trip, and brings back gifts. And the reindeer love this same mushroom, which gives the sensation of flying. Maybe it's time we recognize that our all-knowing Santa, who travels the globe defying space and time, is actually a shaman. Lawrence, how much do you love Christmas?
I hate Christmas.
Well, what if we embraced this more shamanistic side of Santa? What would that look like?
What I would take away from it, the shaman comes as a healer or to give advice. We should think in terms of regarding Christmas not as a capitalistic holiday, but a time when one should think more spiritually about life, about one's ills, be they psychological or physical.
And you, Carl?
I mean, I think if you don't know the richness of our folkloric tradition, you are missing a large part of the opportunity you have to know who we are as a culture. And we should know what's going on with Santa Claus. It makes it more fun.
Maybe this Christmas we can make room for one more story. One about mushrooms, shamans, and ancient rituals. Maybe we should be asking Santa for something different this year. Something more in the tradition of his shaman forefathers. Like time for reflection and looking inward.
This is the Amanita muscaria. Like the nose on Rudolph.
Directed and produced by Matthew Salton. There you go. Santa is a psychedelic mushroom, fam. You know what I got queued up next? You don't, but you're going to love it. It's Fuck Christmas by Eric Idle. And you're damn right I wish to proceed.
Fuck Christmas. It's a waste of fucking time. Fuck Santa. He's just out to get your dime. Fuck holly and fuck ivy and fuck all that mistletoe. White-bearded big fat bastards ringing bells wherever you go. And bloated men in shopping malls all going ho, ho, ho. It's fucking Christmas time again. Fuck Christmas. It's a fucking Disney show. Fuck reindeer. And all that fucking snow. Fuck carols and fuck Rudolph and his stupid fucking nose. Fucking sleigh bells tinkling everywhere you fucking goes. Fuck stockings and fuck shopping, it just drives us all insane. Go tell the elves to fuck themselves, it's Christmas time again. You sentimental bastards.
Vi glider ungefär
Oh no, what's going on?
70
Stop playing
meter.
things. There we go. Yeah, fam. Bet you didn't think I'd play that, or at least you weren't expecting it, but you're stoked I did. You know you're stoked I did, because that was fucking... Like, that is Christmas tradition, is Eric Idle doing Fuck Christmas. Am I right? Could you even hear what I'm saying, or did I have it too close to that speaker over there? Like, this, here, Ether Tech Industries Fancy Ogre Wee, which is actually just some whiskey from 7-Eleven, is so good with dollar store hot chocolate, fam. And I'm having so much fun playing these stupid ass fucking videos. But I have more picked out for this hour. There's okay, I'll just tell you, I got all 3 parts of Mad TV's Rudolph parody, which is based on like Godfather and Apocalypse Now and shit, but it's Rudolph, and it's all like that stop motion fucking anyway. So that's for this hour, and then of course the third hour, Pee Wee Herman's Christmas special. Because I'm a fucking dork, and this is the stupidest fucking Christmas special you're ever gonna watch in your life. But I'm gonna play some more off of this. That's why I keep pushing this here cover around. Oh. No. Okay. Happy birthday, baby Jesus. And what we got queued up on this side, we're gonna be playing side 2 now. So it's the Super Suckers, we'll call it Christmas time, the Bomboras doing Little Drummer Boy, and the Muffs doing Nothing for Me. So here we go, fam. This is the Super Suckers with We'll Call It Christmas. Sorry, we'll call it Christmas time. Excellent. I would eat baby Jesus while agreeing with that critical thought critique. I eat baby Jesus in honor of your comment, and welcome, comrade. Stoked you're here. Yeah, that was the Mono Men doing We'll Call It Christmas Time. And this is the Bomboras about to do Little Drummer Boy. Critical Thought Critique is a witch. We're going to have to burn Critical Thought Critique. Question, and I'm going to need you to figure out how to prove this in a live chat, comrade. How well do you float? Because there's a good chance we're going to fucking burn you for that last shit you said there, right there, about... Anyway, fucking Jesus baby eating... I can't keep up if I eat babies or if I hate that eating babies. But either way, you spelt that weird, and it makes me feel a certain kind of way, so I need to know if you can float. Otherwise, we're burning witches. That's the Bomboras doing Slayer's version of The Little Drummer Boy. And then up next is The Muffs with Nothing for Me. I'm going to come back over here real quick because it looked like the frames were freezing up again. I think I want to try and see what I can do to clear this up, fam. Let's try that. How's that going to work? I think that's going to help us out for a minute. Okay. Why is that not playing? Oh, no. Wait a minute. Hold on. Here's the fire. It's burning. There we go. Alright. So, official welcome to you, comrade. I'm assuming that is you, Price Nash, of the world famous Punks for Progress Indiana and the Critical Thought Critique. What I have queued up next is fucking classic Christmas fucking shenanigans, and yes, the kind that Shannon's name comes from, even though she will tell you that the word shenanigans has nothing to do with her. It's not true because she's actually in the fucking word. Okay, what I have up next is the 3-part trilogy from Mad TV and their parody of motherfucking Rudolph and shit. So, I guess with no further whatever and whatever, we'll switch on over to here. Children's Family Network presents...
Hey, what's so freaking important you interrupted my scungili? What? You don't know the story of Rudolph? Well, pull up an ice block, and I'll tell you everything. Well, not everything.
7-Eleven has the best ogre pee.
As far back as he could remember, Rudolph wanted to be one of Santa's made reindeer. Like his friends, Jimmy the Antler and Frankie 2 Times. There was only one problem.
Hey, Frankie, look! It's a raid! The cops are here!
You'll never be in Santa's gang. Never be in Santa's gang. Hey, what's that? Look here.
Get him!
Here.
Get him!
Here.
I guess I'm just a misfit. Hey, who the are you?
I'm Hermie the Drill. Santa kicked me out because I wouldn't give him his tribute. Someday, I'm gonna take over Santa's whole operation.
Hey, I'm with you, Paisan, and I know just the guy to call. Yukon Cornelione.
We'll get even. We'll get even. We'll make Santa pay. We'll make calls. We'll break balls. So we'll get our cut someday. Yeah.
What's the matter for you? I said, hold on. I'm out.
Ho, ho, ho! Donner and Blitzen just hijacked a shipment of pure snow. We'll make 2 million easy. Who the f*** are you? Who the f*** am I? I'm Yukon Cornelione, the greatest hitman of all. And I've got a special present for you. Compliments of one disgruntled elf and red-nosed reindeer. Were you talking to me? You talking to me? Hey, I should get one of these from my workshop.
Next, our friends went to Santa's toy room with a special delivery.
Hey, look who it is. Mr. Freaking Fireplug. Mr. Freaking Fireplug.
Does my nose amuse you? Is it funny? Like a clown? Does it make you laugh?
No, great nose.
Okay, I'm the capo now. Hermie's my lieutenant and Abominable here's my enforcer. Capiche? Now let's eat.
So remember, kids, the moral of this story is keep your mouth shut.
Have a Merry freaking Christmas, and you'll hear what we have said. Don't you squeal or rat us out, or you will end up dead.
There we go, part 2.
Freaking Christmas, and you'll hear what we have said. Don't you squeal
That.
or rat us out, or you will end up
It's telling me it detected copyrighted audio. So if this cuts out, I'll start back up again. Stay with it. I think we'll be okay, though.
Don Rudolph, thank you for seeing me on Christmas Eve.
It's my pleasure. Have a seat. And what can I do for you, my most valued friend?
I want to start my own line of toys. But the head elf, he stands in my way. I don't know what to do, Don Rudolph.
You can start acting like an elf. What's the matter with you? Crying like a gnome. Don't worry. I'll take care of the head elf for you.
What will you do?
I'll make him an offer he can't refuse. You come, Bratzi.
Yes, Doc.
I have a job for you.
That's so fucking good. Oh, come on.
Keep the chain. Son of a bumble. What's the holdup? Hey.
Somebody left this on the doorstep, Rudolph.
Open it. What the hell is this?
North Pole message. It means Yukon Browsy sleeps with the penguins.
Sleeps with the penguins. Ah, damn it.
I want all inquiries made. I want no acts of vengeance.
Let's see if it comes back in. It said temporarily blocked.